Well, it's a beautiful day outside, and you can see my garden. The yellow roses are doing well, the hibiscus, there's a bottle brush, all the roses, that's a peace, beautiful peace hybrid tea. And you can see that they've grown tremendously since the last time I saw. This is the Plectranthus, Mona lavender Plectranthus. It's kind of photosensitive, and it's going to start blooming now. This is pretty amazing. This is an oleander that was a cutting that was propagated last October, November, and it was like 6-inch high little pieces of cuttings, and look at how it's grown. And there's another. These ones were planted from seeds last year. Look at how well they're doing. And the Plectranthus, that's a variegated oleander that is blooming, and one of my two variegated oleanders called Twist of Pink. It's a double pink oleander. It's making seeds, and I can hardly wait to plant them. And this is a floribunda called Dancing in the Dark. And you can see the difference between the bloom of a floribunda and a bloom of a hybrid tea. This is hybrid tea peace, and this is another hybrid tea called Miss All-American Beauty, and it's doing quite well. And this is Blue Moon, another hybrid tea, and the Diplodenia are doing super well. And this is an interesting Cordes perfecta, which is an absolutely fragrant, gorgeous hybrid tea. It's really a beautiful hybrid tea. And then this is Alfred Sisley, which is a floribunda. As you can see, it has smaller blooms, but the smaller but more prolific blooms. It's sometimes called a candelabra rose. And this is Chrysler Imperial. As you can tell, it's a hybrid tea, and it blooms and has an amazing fragrance. And this is Tropicana, one of my favorite hybrid teas. It has a really nice collection of curled petals, and it blooms prolifically too. And this is another Alfred Sisley that's getting pretty scraggly, and it's growing. I'm going to have to cut it back to Chrysler Imperial. And this is Mr. Lincoln. Oh my gosh, look at how big Mr. Lincoln has become. It's like a minor tree. I like to plant petunias and verbena and other things, purslane, portulaca, and other things in with the Calabroccia. There's some Calabroccia over there, right there, double Calabroccia. It kind of shades the roots, and it kind of leaves her less spare space. This is an achievement. This is a beautiful camellia that I took as a cutting, got it from a friend, and it's doing quite well. It's going to be a camellia tree someday, and the citrus are doing well. And this is the other Twist of Pink. It's just started to bloom again, and you can see a little bit of its double pink bloom. And we have, what else do we have? Of course, we have our shade garden. This is a Stephanotis, and it's probably going to bloom next year. I got it as bitty little cuttings last year, and it's doing quite well. Of course, the caladiums do well. And this is my gardenia that it's called, what's its name? Jubilation gardenia. And it likes to bloom and bloom and bloom pretty much through the summer and into the fall. And we have our pond sounds, and this is purslane and another tree oleander, and this is Luna Moon portulaca. As you can see, it's got a different bloom from the average portulaca. The hibiscus are doing phenomenally well, and of course my crotons and other shade lovers and clivias are doing quite well. You can't have the orchids get too much sun. Their little leaves get burnt. The oleander, this is a single oleander. As you can see, they bloom very prolifically. And the fountain, of course, that I made. And let's see what else we have. Get out of the sun. The hibiscus is just full of blooms, really full of blooms. And the bougainvilleas are coming back from. It's very interesting, these bougainvillea blooms. As you can see, the bloom first comes out white, but if it gets sun, it's going to turn a pinky color, which is really quite interesting. And more of the dipladenias that are just vining their little faces off. And so much for my garden. And it's a peaceful little oasis, and I like the sound of the fountains that I have, and it's peaceful, and I don't have to worry about, look what the various floods have done to my on-the-ground garden. I've kind of given up with on-the-ground gardening. Today the water is quite peaceful, but it's deceiving. The oleander bloom is there. The water can get pretty rough and do a lot of flooding and a lot of damage. And on the ground is my trusty, faithful crepe myrtle that's doing quite well. I'm going to have to mow the lawn soon. Anyway, everything's doing quite well, and I hope you've enjoyed my little garden tour.